All right, everybody, welcome back to Uproar Live. This is the 11th hour, and we are recording. I want to bring my friend on, Sydney. Hey, Sydney, welcome. How are you?
Hi. How's it going?
We're doing all right. We're trying to figure out some technical difficulties, as always, with some of our guests. But Tariq is working on it, and he's on his way.
That's what I had this morning.
Oh, more technical difficulties?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm telling you, everywhere. Right? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Let me bring Tariq on. Hey, Tariq, how's it going, man?
Hey, how's it going?
We're doing all right. We were just talking. We were lamenting all the technical difficulties in our life nowadays. You know.
Oh yeah. Hey, if there's any time to get the bugs out, it's now, huh?
That's right. That's right. So we got with us right now Tariq Gardner and Sydney Olszewski. Tariq has been working with us. We've been doing some marches up and down the Cass corridor, taking people from campus over the course of the last semester or so, and down to a worship service that's focused on kind of justice issues and community down there at Cass Community United Methodist Church. Tariq, I want to just say thanks for jumping in on that project. It was really fun the few times we were able to do it.
Oh, most definitely, very much welcome. Love to play. Definitely love to play, and of course for a good cause like yours.
My favorite was when they were still doing classes in what's that? There's a building, Sydney, that they're renovating now, and they're not doing classes in anymore. Right there on Cass.
It's State Hall.
Yeah.
State Hall. It was great. One of the first times we were marching through, and just everybody in all of the different classrooms were looking out the window at all the ruckus we were making. It was really fun.
Oh, it was great. People was coming out of their buildings when we were walking past Willis in that little district with all the little shops.
Oh man,
people were leaving their Royale burger.
That's right. And to tell you the truth, it's the thing I miss most about the coronavirus, being in coronavirus time, is being able to do things like that.
Yeah. I'm even missing the cold right now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
However cold those days were. To be outside.
Well, Sydney, I said that Tariq, we could give him a chance to play a little music for us. You want to give that another try, Tariq? We kind of maybe we've figured things out, and then and we're gonna check in with Tariq a little bit about doing creative stuff too. Tariq, you want to give it a try?
Yeah, I'll give it a try. If you guys can go on mute, I think that would I think that works out. Okay. about it for me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for playing. Really appreciate that. Now imagine. You know what? I don't know if it was the kind of quality of recording, because we're doing all sorts of crazy mics. So, but I really appreciate that, kind of setting the mood. We were wondering, what is life like right now for you, Tariq, when you're thinking about creative pursuits in this Corona kind of time?
Well, in the times that we're living in right now, like a big thing in being a musician is being able to look ahead. When you're reading music, you want to be able to look ahead to where you're going in the music, so you can set it up the way you're going. There's not a lot of time for looking back, especially when you're in the moment. You make a mistake, you just keep going, because at the end of the day, the only mistakes are the ones that you make of it in your head. So, right now is as good a time as any to just be thinking ahead. I've just been thinking ahead to when things open up and I can be back out here playing with my band, with my group, and playing with other groups. What new things am I going to bring to the table? What is going to be what am I going to come out here with? Am I going to come out of here really? Am I going to come out here really nervous about, like, well, what have I done over this amount of time, or am I going to, like, really be grateful to have this time to be by myself? Because being a musician, it's it's a very social venture. You got to be around a lot of people. You got to, like, you got to know how to deal with people. You got to be, quick friend maker at the end of the day. And that's definitely a part of it. If you come into music and you're not a people person, you kind of are gonna have to become one. Unless you're just like a like a born genius or something like that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the artist's best friend is their self. At least that's how I feel like it should be, or at any rate, that's how it is for me.
So you're really seeing this as a time of, like, growth in your craft, taking the time to pay attention to your own skills, your own vision, write the next song, work on the next lick, whatever it is. This is a growth time, actually, instead of just a absence time. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. It's in a lot of ways, it's kind of like an incubation period. And it's funny because there's an adjustment period with this type of thing, because like, I've been at it for about 5 years playing professionally, and I've been playing for a while, like about 12 years now. And so, it's like, it's weird. It's kind of like, it's jostling, of course, it's jarring at first to just be kind of like pulled out of that hustle and bustle. I'm used to, like, what songs do I have to learn for the next gig? Okay, what I need to make sure that I'm spending this time, honing whatever skills and carrying on and all that. But it's kind of been like a good amount of time to kind of, like, be able to do that in kind of more of a relaxed setting. There's less of a deadline. This thing doesn't have any hard deadlines. This whole this whole lockdown procedure and everything. So it kind of becomes like a relief. Like, I'm making time for myself to do things that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. I mean, aside from go to the gym, that's been like the biggest pitfall of all this, is I have to do my workouts at home now. And if you know me, I don't. That's why I have a place to do that. I don't go home to exercise. That's not where I go to get fit and everything.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Unless I want to do bench presses with my 1-year-old and 5-year-old on the end of the bars. That's what's up for me.
Hey, that's a good move, man. I might have to give me some kids, man. I might have to start the family.
Well, hey,
Temporary for the time being.
That's right. That's right. Let me bring our friends on here. We got Sydney and Lauren with us now, and welcome everybody. Hey, Lauren, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. I don't know if Lauren and Sydney, if you got any questions for Tariq that kind of get us talking about creative pursuits and how do we use this time to move ourselves forward on that end of things that he might be able to respond to. Have you seen anything coming from your favorite artist that you've appreciated on the creativity side?
I kind of like that people are doing more stuff online.
Yeah, Sydney,
like to reach out online. I kind of like that, or like posting videos of them singing songs or whatever. I think that's really cool because it kind of then people piggyback off of it and comment their own videos. Like, I thought that's been pretty cool.
Yeah, it seems like artists are turning to their live feeds as a way to stay connected with their friends and fans, huh?
Yes. Now, this question is a very crackly one.
Yeah.
Now, I heard the word genre. And mixing genres, was that the question? I'm sorry. Is there a way that you could type Carl, did you hear that question any better than I did?
That's all right. Yeah, that's okay. Sydney,
sorry.
Sydney, give it to us one more time, okay?
No, I was just saying how I like that artists, or not even artists, but just people in general, are kind of singing songs together and mashing them up and putting all their videos together in one song. I just thought that's pretty cool. It's just another way to kind of bring people together when you can't actually see each other, can't actually get together.
Yeah, exactly. This is one time where we're really making use of this kind of technological generation that we're living in. You know, we have all types of apps on our phones. You know, we have like acapellas. You know, it's just you can just get the free app and you can make like a 30-second video of whatever kind of creative concept that you have, or even Logic Pro X. That's what I just played my little beat on over there when I was playing on it. Um, and like a lot of people have been using that for like like live horn tracking. So like they'll get together like a concept and maybe start off with like like the piano track or the bass track, and just kind of go and try to make something really special. Especially with the camera thing. You've seen the little divider and all that. That's been something that's been really special to me. I haven't myself really got too much into that one because for me, at a time when I can have a time to myself, I'm gonna use that for myself. And and collaboration is very important. So how I've been doing that is kind of like more exchanging ideas and staying in touch, with folks. But that's like a really, really cool thing about all this is I always tell a lot of my friends that this is a better time for any of this to be happening than about any other time in history.
Mm. Yeah, and whether you're in the artist community or like
as many losses
community or the movement, folks pursuing peace and justice, like the constrictures of I have to stay at home force you to think very creatively about how we use that technology that's at our fingertips for goodness,
Exactly. We can use this technology for goodness, and we can, even, like as important, just the fact that we can connect with one another and stay in touch. This isn't a strict lockdown or quarantine in any sense, like let's take any other like, large scale disease, like if you say like the Black Plague or Spanish flu, there wasn't really a lot of systems of communication where we can turn on our TV and see something that says like, okay, you guys stay inside. This is like really bad. This is going on. In that time, like they have like a town crier, in times of the Black Plague, you gotta be outside to get the message, or you might read it in the newspaper after you've been at the club or the bar or something the next day and it's too late. So in terms of like the safety precautions that are even able to be implemented, this is like one of the best times that this could even happen. We have entertainment at our fingertips. We have all of our friends and loved ones at our fingertips, so we can isolate safely.
It's so true. It's so true. Tariq, I really thank you for sharing with us today. I want to be sure to let people know kind of where they can find you and your work and connect. I know that you're doing some lessons and things, but where do you want to send people to if they want to get in touch with you about what you're doing musically?
You said where people can connect with me and what else?
Just for your music. Is there you want them to follow you on Instagram or check you on SoundCloud?
Okay, yeah. So on Instagram, my handle is royal.reek. That's RIQ. ROYAL.RIQ. I think I'm spelling that right. On SoundCloud, I have a few things posted. That's under Reek Passion. And you can also follow my YouTube under Tariq Gardner. And I have a band page on YouTube and on Facebook for my band that I lead called Tariq Gardner's Evening Star. And it's been an ongoing project of mine for the past, like couple of years or so. I'm really happy that I could lead and with some of my like really closest friends.
That's awesome, man. We're really looking forward to working with Tariq and all of his musician colleagues. We're working on this dark hymnal collection, which is a set of new songs for faith communities. And so, Tariq, we need to talk with you a little bit more about that and about how we might be able to demo some stuff out. Is that something you guys would be interested in doing?
Oh, please do, please do. I love collaboration, and the way I feel about it is music at the end of the day. And everyone is like, each one teach one. It's never a single-minded pursuit on any end. It's like, what do I have? What do you have? What do we all have? And can we all put it together and make something special?
I love it. Thanks, Tariq. We're gonna move to chatting. I think, Lauren, if you don't mind, I think we're gonna go talk with Sydney just for a few minutes about her efforts on the conspiracy side of things. Tariq, if you want to hang around, that's great. But if you got some other things to do, we understand. But let me bring Sydney up. Sydney, what has been going on up at Mount Clemens? You're Lauren. You're not Sydney. Hold on. Sydney, what's been going on up at Mount Clemens with conspiracies of goodness?
So we've finalized kind of our plan of action that we're going to go about. So we're calling it Project Thank You. And basically if you guys haven't seen from last video, we've basically been coming up with an idea of how can we thank our healthcare workers and what's the best way to go about that. So we basically kind of decided to donate Jimmy John's. That's kind of what we're going to go with. So just donating like chips to the hospital, and we're going to do it to McLaren Macomb, which is kind of like right by our church. So kind of keep it around our area, but also kind of thank the departments for what they're doing. So we still have to come up with exactly how we want to distribute, which departments we want to go to, but we're going to kind of go that route. We've also got our church involved with making thank you cards, which have already been starting to pool in. So it's coming along pretty good. We're going to kind of try to shoot for maybe next week to actually put it together. So
I love it. Eat plugs for goodness.
It's going really good. Yeah.
And just as a word, Sydney is kind of, well, you commute to school down at Wayne State when it's open. But there are some folks who are connecting back with the local church because students have been home for the semester, right? And we've been recognizing that. And so Motor City Wesley is interested in coming alongside any of those gatherings that are happening kind of at the local church level, even digitally, who might be good candidates and be interested in doing some conspiracies of goodness. I mean, we would be doing them on campus, but campuses are empty right now. And so finding Sydney and her crew up at Mount Clemens First UMC was a natural place, and we were just really excited about that. We know that there are others out there doing that at local churches, and we'd love to come alongside you with Conspiracy of Goodness micro grants and see what kind of goodness you can do even during this time. So, Sydney, thanks for kind of taking charge on that and helping people see what that could be like.
Thanks for helping us out and kind of reaching out to us and offering, hey, if you guys want to start this, let's do it. So it came along pretty good. So we appreciate
absolutely.
it.
Well, thanks so much. Lauren is here with us as well, Lauren Norton, and she is kind of helping pursue a practice of community, which is kind of our third focus with Motor City Wesley. She is a Global Mission Fellow US-2 serving here in Detroit. And Lauren, you are, I don't say stuck in your house, but
Yeah.
But while let's thanks, Sydney. And if you want to listen in, we can shoot it back to you too if you have any questions for Lauren. But let me bring her up here. So Lauren, tell us what it's been like up at the Foundry House and for practices of community in general, but then practices of intentional Christian community during this time of sheltering in place. I wonder what that's like.
Yeah, so it's been probably as difficult as it sounds like it would be. But now that I have a roommate during quarantine, I think living in community has been like what's keeping me sane during this. Like having that person in the house, like whether it's watching a movie or talking about some meme we see on the internet, or I mean, we talk about like faith and all these different things, and like having that person like right here with me builds into that community. And also like living at Foundry and being in community with people back home. Like I'm from Georgia, and so I'm still like living in community with them. And so it's like, how am I making time for all of these things while still working? And so a lot of community just looks like I'm going to watch a movie with you even if I'm really tired, because I know that that community is so important for this time. And so it's important to make time for that community.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I've learned working with the youth at Dearborn First Methodist is it's probably more important to get together on Wednesday night, even if we're just playing Jackbox games or Two Truths and a Lie, than if we're doing some in-depth Bible study necessarily. Because in this moment, the body of Christ just being there for one another is transformational. You say stay sane, and I hear you. Yeah. What are some of the things that you haven't been able to do either in your missional calling as a global mission fellow, or because of the limitations of having to stay at home? What are some things that you want to lament right now? The things you can't do.
Yeah, so I've been serving with Central UMC in their nursery on Sundays and can't do that because churches aren't open. So that's been really hard because I've always been a person that's like in church, or like at my home church, I worked the nursery and I helped with the children's ministry there. So like that was always a routine, like a good routine for me. And now that that's not a thing, like I wake up on Sundays, I'm like, it's so different and it's really hard to adjust to. And also working with Motown Mission, like 2 of our spring break teams canceled, so I didn't get to welcome them in, and there's no telling what our summer's going to look like right now. So there's so much about this experience has been changed by this pandemic, and it's really hard. And it's like, like you're saving lives, and like that's what's more important right now. But to be a global mission fellow during this time, like so you're learning how to be in mission in different ways than the ways that you originally thought you would ever be in mission.
Yeah, and the creativity and thinking outside the box that we were talking with Tariq about has hit the same wall, right? Or the same need for thinking creatively, even about things like spring break mission trips. And what do you do with kids in churches if all you have to connect with them is the screen, kind of? Well, we kind of lament those things alongside of you and are glad for at least the practices of Christian community that we have now. And we also want to, the other word to say is that Motor City Wesley is pursuing, along with the support of the Forum for Theological Exploration, how do we help others create Christian community to weather times like this? And even when it's not in the middle of a global pandemic, neighborhoods and communities on the margins and suffering from kind of structural poverty or racism. Intentional Christian community practices can be the thing that weather those storms and those epidemics that are sometimes invisible to us. So we want to, again, lift up that project as available to any and all students around the Metro Detroit area, but also local churches and young adults. And a particular invitation goes out to folks, students of color. We are very aware that many times intentional Christian community is kind of a privilege that white folks can pursue for a limited amount of time. But we're also aware that those practices are the things that have been fundamental to strong communities of color, and we want to be sure that we're inviting young people into that, and particularly in a faith-based kind of way. So that's kind of where we are with all of that. Sydney, do you feel like the folks up at Mount Clemens have they ever thought of how do we live an intentional Christian community together before?
I don't think before it was presented to us we ever thought about how are we going to handle it when we can't be together but still want to be together. I don't think you ever like plan to have to meet this way like we all have been, which is kind of the main thing. Like I feel like we're talking more now than we have when we're actually being together in church, but I kind of think it's more meaningful now because we're like, instead of just seeing each other in church and, hey, how are you? Good. See you next Sunday. Like now we're making a point to meet together twice a week with our high school youth. Reverend Lisa and I are kind of trying to meet together with them. And then once a week with our college youth just to check in, even though we kind of have been checking in with each other before, kind of just whether it's like a quick text or we like Snapchat or whatever. But now that we're actually making a point to get together once a week, I think it's really awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for chatting with us, everybody. I'm going to close with our Friends Like G's segment, where I'm just going to preview the next edition, the next issue of the magazine coming up. So thanks you for being with us. This podcast will go up next week, and we're praying for you all in your practices of community, conspiracy, and creativity. So Lauren, Sydney, we'll see you next time. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
So many good things are happening, friends. We're really excited about the young adults that we get to work with. And we hope you will help us to get in contact with folks that are ready to pursue their faith, even during this weird time in the world, to pursue their faith in those kinds of ways. We're looking for local churches that have young adults around, and we want to come alongside of you here in the Metro Detroit area. We would love to be of help in students who have kind of returned home because of COVID-19, but who are planning to be back on campus at some point at some of our other campuses that have other United Methodist connected and kind of Wesleyan theology campus ministries going. We've got lots of good friends all over the state, from the UP down. And but while they are home, we want to be good partners with them, and we want to get them connected to these other campus ministries all over the place that are doing really good things too. But we have some friends. Let me grab. Where do I grab? Let me see here. We've got a lot of great friends that are doing good thinking and writing about our practices of Christian justice, mercy, equity, and they are our friends at G's Magazine. And we just wanted to let you know that their next issue on disobedience is now being delivered by mail, and we should have copies available for you and your book club or young adult group that want to pursue their kind of holy mischief. Here's kind of the front cover of it, and it comes with a little postcard that is designed around the theme. Writers from all over the place that are kind of bringing to life the kind of Christian tradition of saying no a holy kind of no when necessary. And these are folks that have practiced this stuff. These are the folks that march in the streets and stand up for the most marginalized, bring to light the most invisible injustices in the world, face the most systemic problems of racism and militarism and heterosexism and just such good stuff. That's why we are partnering with them on our teach-ins, and we're going to have some more regular podcasts with the folks from there about each edition, and be sharing some of their own conversation guides, so that if you pick up a copy and you need some help finding your way to a really in-depth conversation about the topic, they're providing those conversation guides as well. So please check out G's magazine. You can find them online. I'll put a link in the notes. Thanks, friends. This has been our 11th hour recording session for Uproar. We appreciate those of you who have stopped by. Thanks so much for our guests on the show, and be watching for us next week. We're going to be continuing these even beyond what is typically the end of a semester, just because we all are in need of some good conversations even while at home and sheltering during this time. So our prayers for you are that you find your own practices of creativity, conspiracy, and community in the love and power of Jesus for the transformation of the world. Cheers.